Dan Lutz, and I'm here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Lumadonkeys, and all those that wish to do their own selfish things to the whole of humanity. Well, that didn't come off so well. I got caught sidetracked in a message coming from DANK by way of Lisa. They're finishing up another live broadcast, so this will be on shortly. So at least that's good news. Haven't seen DANK in 2 days, so we'll see where it goes from there. I was catching up on THI, listening to Thomas's latest upload from I guess today or yesterday, I guess. But really interesting stuff in there about you know what's going on with the Rothschilds and the Black Sun, and I guess being extricated from a lot of places around the world. So who's on whose side? Are the Rothschilds actually going to cooperate now, or no? So let me just say we're waiting. While we're waiting, as I guess you said, a few minutes. I got one really cool little Twitter feed video that came through from the Telegram group WWG1WGA.love. Well, that's the website. Minus the dot, you'll get the Telegram group. It's kind of one of these Warner Brother takeoffs, right? They actually alter an old cartoon of the Roadrunner, right? And reconfigure it so Trump is the Roadrunner, and Wile E. Coyote is actually Adam Schiff. So, well, that's the intro. So why don't I go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go ahead and just go ahead and take a look. I can always play it again for DANK. I'll get a kick out of it. There we go. Let's watch again. The ship hits the fan. Trump runner. Tweetus Maximus. Conclusion, treason. Tension. Oh. Catapults by Mueller. Instant obstruction. Impeachment rockets. Powered by CNN. And if you caught this, but on the train, see, everyone's wearing a red hat on the train. All MAGA hats are. So, yes, pretty funny. There we go. All right. Oh, thank you. Made it on?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
I'm good. Did you happen to just catch this little video I was showing?
No, man, I didn't. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It deserves a replay. I'll share the screen with you. Can you see that?
Oh, cool. Let me see. Yep. Wow. Oh, cool. Yes.
All right. So I don't know if you've seen this yet, but this is a parody with Roadrunner, and where Trump is the Roadrunner, and Wile E. Coyote is Adam Schiff. There we go. The ship hits the fan.
I already like it.
Trump runner, Tweetus Maximus. Conclusion, tension.
Nothing is nice.
Catapults by Mueller. This is good. This is an instant obstruction boulders. Just add water. Impeachment rockets, powered by CNN. On the train, people on there wearing red hats.
I love it. That's great. That's great.
Hollywood, USA, also known as Adam Schiff's backyard. The Pelosi cartoon. How do you say it? Pulitzoid? I can say that. A Pulitzoid cartoon. I guess Pelosi, right? But Zoid.
Yeah.
A Pulitzoid cartoon. But anyway, that was pretty humorous. So. So anyway, how's it going? I missed you. It's been ages.
Man, I'm sorry. You know, it's so funny. Last night, because I spoke. We partnered up with a group of anti-vax moms that are pretty formidable, right? And so we had a lot of people coming in, and we've been expanding to set up. Michelle and she set up a kind of a board of trustees, and so they've all been working really hard to set up the structure so that in every state we have representation and just organizing that so it's manageable. And but so in the process, I went to speak on Thursday night to a group of anti-vax moms who were kind enough to host at this at the library there, and it was a good turnout, and I got to speak, but there was a lot of questions afterwards, and a lot of people, a lot of concerns, and unfortunately, instead of going to research the work we've done, like Lawful America and everything else, they did a deep dive. They said what they think is a deep dive. Now, dealing in intel, I kind of don't take it that seriously, but they went in and they were like, "Did you work for a drug company?" And yes, I did. After I taught, I was a drug rep for 2 different companies.
Red flags.
Yeah. And so they thought I was, controlled opposition. That's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
So I explained how, I was identified there, and all these things. But I mean, it's just been a nonstop series of things, and there's been a lot of people like I don't know if we can trust them because, they were just.
He believes in the GCR. We found out he's part of the GCR.
Yeah.
Those are crazy
they tried
people.
To throw me under the bus about the GCR. They tried to say that I made some threat to the government. I'm like, listen. First of all, Kim has followed through on every threat she's made. People just don't realize how this stuff works, and they don't realize the massive changes that have taken place, They just think, I don't know. I guess they just think this is a normal presidency that they're seeing.
Oh yes.
Everyone just thinks that Russian Parliament just always steps down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. By the
That's
way,
normal. Perfectly normal. Just news. No big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that happened. When was the last time that happened?
Oh, never.
Never. No. even when they switched from communism and they got the Soviet Union broke up, they still have the same oligarchs, same people in charge there, right? But the reason when they broke up, right? That's communism is put in place by the cabal, by the Bilderbergs. And you can trace back even the discussion on the first when the Bilderberg group was first named by a reporter who was a waiter at the Bilderberg Hotel, right? Second job, right? He's a reporter and a waiter, right? He hears them all discussing how they're going to implement communism in Russia and in China, right? So this is like communism, comes from the cabal, right? It's an evil plan, and then it's instituted in Russia, and then it's gone, right? But what's left behind? Did the cabal just give up and go away? No. And then there's a big power struggle when Putin ends up taking power, right? Does he just like all switch on a dime? No, he's got to work with the oligarchs. He's got to work with the power structures there, right? So, the whole Russian government just stepping down now, just like, oh, where'd they go? Well, how was that made possible? Is really the question. What cleared the way? You want to take that one?
Yeah, I know. Well, what cleared the way was, one woman standing up against the monsters, and that's the reality. And Kim has always said to me that she's coming down from the top and we're coming up from the bottom.
Can we switch places for a while? I don't know.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I don't think.
No,
Kim's life is just like ours, to be honest.
I realize when I was saying this. Oh, well, that's not quite right. But anyway, it's good. We're moving in the right direction. Abundance for all is flowing. So, and the change in the world dynamic is definitely at hand. You can see it, right? If you know what to look for, right? Like Russian power structure is now completely changed over. Why was Russia the bad guys all this time? Not just first of all as the USSR, right? Or they were our allies during World War World War II, right? What happened? We defeated Germany, defeated the socialists. the National Socialists. So I guess what we really need is a national capitalist party now, right? To be opposed to the Nazis, right? So this is a nationalist socialist party. We need a nationalist capitalist party. Be completely opposite to what they were doing.
It's such a just an incredible state of the union that we that we're constantly we're just constantly fighting, and I'm amazed by it, I'm amazed at how we spend our time and waste our time sometimes.
It's all busy work. all keeping the rats in the maze, moving to the next piece of cheese. Just to scratch out a living, right? Really difficult. But so at least I can say that things are going well with the Kringle gold and the gold grain coin. So that's good. So we're into it the 5th day or so, and things are picking up even more. We have severe problems of too many people registering at the same time.
Wow, that's a good problem.
Yeah. So that means people register and they never get an email confirmation, and their account kind of gets into like a limbo, right? Because it's kind of got started and you can't get back in to finish it, kind of thing. So really they have to just start with a new email address and start over, right? Which is not really that difficult. But we just suggest, hey, get a Proton Mail account for free one, and then just register. Everything goes very smoothly then. But that's I'm looking forward to being able to I'm working where I've got a lot of people already in my group that have joined under my link. So I think I got like 62 direct people. I got a couple hundred people already down, into the downline, right? So, it's all affiliate, right? But there's but the group extends down 10 levels, right? So anyone that's in the group down 10 levels, and they buy a coin, I get, not too much off of the ones that are down from the third level to 10, but it's still, over time, it adds up. So it's looking good. Anyway, let's wrap it back around. I wanted to ask you, well, what's going on with Kim? We should get an update. It's been like 4 days, something like that.
Yeah, Saturdays and Sundays, I almost don't even bother Kim. I will tell you this though. I got sparked yesterday, and really, I guess different things, spark different people, right? And but after talking to these moms, out in on Long Island, right? And what I did was I went through, kind of because they wanted to know who I was, and they wanted to know, what we were doing. So I kind of went through a very brief, like this started with Create Change, to fund projects around the world, with a group of visionaries who, start a movement, right? And then, it led to, Kim reaching out to us, and then I went into how to get the message out, we had to start our own media, right? Which is why we started the Speak Project, right? And then from there, we've just been expanding and working and doing all types of actionable things that go along with media, so actionable media, right? Not just talk, but things we can do together to change things.
Right.
And then so I went through all the tools. Right? I went through Guardian Camp Law, why that exists, an ethical business organization, and I went through how then we set up a private network so that project owners can work together and actually feel comfortable to talk about their ideas, right? And then I went through how finally we had to get the law, right? We really had to have an entity of our own to get things done because there wasn't anybody else who was quite moving at the pace that I know based on the urgency of the situation fast enough,
right.
And with enough authority. So we set all these things up, and then we showed how if you go to the website, every single thing is cited. It's referenced. There's law, there's code, every possible thing you can imagine is there, right? That you reference it. And I'm sure there's lots of things in there that we could do better, and there's lots of amazing people who can help us with that. But they don't help us with that by this one guy reached out to me. He's like, "Yo, your letter is so unlawful, it's laughable." I'm like, "Oh, jeez." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "You must be one of the Hubba Bubbas, group, So.
Hubba Bubba.
And I just Hubba Bubba.
That's a bubble gum,
but
right?
this one. Yeah. I've got it. Well, no, I won't even say it. But anyways, so one of the mothers reached out to me, and she was really, confused, right? Which was not my intent, obviously, right? So I'm sure I could have been more effective. Now, it would take an ounce of research to go through anything we've done. And we've talked about these same things over and over again, and done all we can to make it as clear as possible, right? And this latest movement to organize the area, the people, the mothers, all these things, that is where we need leaders to step up and say, we'll do it. We'll figure it out for you. We'll go, right? Because we can't do it all, right? And so this is one of those mothers, right? And she was real stressed out and stressed out about some of the leadership here in New York. Now, you got to think, New York is the tip of the spear, right?
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. The UN is here, right? This is the Empire State for a reason, right?
Yep.
There's lots of reasons why this state is the most important state to win this, right? Because you win here, everything else falls. So now think about it. You've got these groups who have been protesting for months. New York did this stuff. We took away our religious freedoms before any other state. So what have they accomplished? Nothing. And there's people that have been doing this for 15, 20 years, fighting this battle, and nothing's changed. Why? It's because they're in the wrong court, they're fighting the wrong battle, and you have to question some of their intent, right? Because some of the leaders, you have to ask, well, are you really, making a difference. Because I watched Bobby Kennedy on the footsteps of the courthouse. I'm like, man, how could anybody take what he just said and continue to vaccinate? It's amazing. So I have to question, what are we actually filing? What is actually being done, right? And so I'm challenging that. I'm saying, you know what? It's not the right court. Attorneys are officers of the court.
Right.
This has to be done by the people. The people have to step up and say, no, we are the lawful authority over the government. You are out of line thinking that you have the right to remove our constitutional rights when the Constitution clearly states that even in a state of emergency, you cannot remove the fundamental rights of the people.
Right.
It is our rights as the people.
Yeah.
It is our fundamental rights. They are not given to us by the government, nor can they be taken away from us by the government, which is under us, not over us. Right?
Yeah. As it is.
So saying all these.
As it is for our heart to beat, and for our lungs to take in air. These are our rights. They cannot be taken away. Oh, there's an emergency. Stop breathing. Oh, that's coming. Too much CO2. Stop breathing, everyone. Hold your breath. Okay. Everyone can breathe again. It's better now.
Now, Dan, can I tell you something amazing?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something amazing about the physical body right now. It's going to really, it'll make sense later. But do you know that if you were to look at your body and you were to look at your throat up to your brain and then your esophagus going down and then your lungs, then what you would have is up to your brain, it would look like a tree with a crown. And then as it comes down in your lungs, you'd have a tree and it's a reflection. Now, what that symbolizes, right, is the idea of God being manifest, or the reflection, or the expression of God in the flesh. Now, your example of that, right, is when you breathe. Breathing is the intercession that you have with the invisible, right? Air is invisible.
Mm-hmm.
You breathe it in to your lungs, and it becomes something tangible that's functioning in your body, right? So it's a beautiful principle of the spirits manifested in the body, right? Lungs, like you said. In other words, it's a God-given right? And it's proven by your body every day. Now, part of the reason why that's such a pretty example to me, right, is as we were going through all these things, everybody went out after the meeting, after we gave them all this, what I thought was really good evidence, and I'm sure I could have done better, but did the best out of the circumstances, right? And I expected questions, but what they did is that there was a couple of haters, right, who I don't know who they were, and some people, but they were skeptical, right? And so they did a deep dive on me. Rather than go to our website and see the work and the point of what we're doing, right? See if they could use the tool, see if it was true. They go into what they call a deep dive on me. Now, their version of a deep dive is going on YouTube and going to my old Facebook page. I mean, it's not a deep dive, right? It's like, it's all public. As a matter of fact, I don't even change any of my information, just because if you change it, then they'll say, oh, look, he changed his information, right? So I don't even change it, right?
Yeah.
So they go in and they're like, he worked for a drug company, right? They go, he had this website, then he changes the name and has another website. Then he has another website. And so they were upset with me because I had these different websites. So I just did a live broadcast just now, right, for this mother, because she was so stressed out, right, because she believed me. Right? She was, I know, but they want proof that you are legit. And I made sure to clarify, I'm not here to be anybody's savior. I'm trying to empower people. So I built these things so that people could use them and make them work, right? And tell me how to make them better, too, by the way, right? So we talked about this, but here's the one statement, man, and I love your take on this statement. What you think about this before I say it? She said, it's just that people are afraid to get their hopes up. When you hear that statement, what is the feeling that you have? Or, just your opinion on that kind of statement.
Oh, a feeling behind that is, obviously it's fear, but, it's there's sadness, no lack of hope, right? You're pushed back. Yep.
No, I agree. Now, that statement, right, it actually stems back to a scripture in Proverbs, the 13th chapter, the 3rd verse, and it says, "Hope deferred maketh the heart sick." Now, you've heard me say that many times.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I remember. Yeah, you said that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because that's the whole GCR plan, right?
Right. Now, what I realize is if you're afraid to live with high hopes. You know what that means? It means you don't even dare anymore even think thoughts that allow you to have high expectations. They already control the way you think. You're already a slave.
Yeah. So
right?
listen.
Now.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying that if you look at it as entrepreneurs, you always are surrounded by the naysayers, especially your family. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're going to fail. All of this, and entrepreneurs have a unique ability. It's a filter. You don't hear any of that, right? You just go out and you're positive and you're going to do that, right? That is what you're willing into existence. You just take your steps forward. And sometimes you're not successful at that moment, but you keep going, and then all of a sudden you're an overnight success. Years in the making, right? Right? And then all your friends, will then change their opinion, right? But they don't stop saying those same things to everyone else that's trying to do their own business idea or whatever they wanted to do. So, but hearing this, this negativity that comes from people, and it's about they're not having their own hope, right? It's a reflection, right? They're putting that out there, right? From them, right? They don't have that ability to go out and make a business. The world is against them. They're going to get crushed. Oh, I don't have the money to make it happen. They'll come up with every reason under the book why it cannot be successful, right? And then they talk themselves out of it. So yeah, and then they do get sick, right? They feel less, and they keep feeling less, and they get beat down into a very mediocre sustained living, right? They can get to like this comfort level where they have food and a place to sleep.
Yep.
Right, and that's about it. So,
people get afraid. It's like you get hit once, right? And then you remember this thing, like so you're afraid to get hit again, right? So that's called behavior modification. That's what people whip their kids, right? That's part of the reason. But listen, this is the part I want to tell you that fits in with all this, right? So it says, "Hope deferred makes the heart sick." So here's what the next part of the scripture says: "But desire fulfilled is the tree of life." Now, I'm just going to repeat this quick, man, but, I love trees, right? Just symbolism of trees. Matter of fact, when I got married, I painted my wife a picture of a tree that was made up of people, and I told her that we're a tree. And the reason why is because trees, they stand taller than we do. They live longer. You know that trees are royal because every tree has a crown. Trees are a symbol of eternal life. That's why you have evergreens up in Alaska, and you have evergreens down in Hawaii. One's a pine tree, one's a palm tree. Trees have a root system that's just as deep as the tree is high. The roots, I just talked to Susan Hogman, and she was explaining, in language I wish I could repeat, to be honest. I wish I would have recorded it. But she explained how the trees communicate with each other, and the plants communicate with each other, and they communicate with the soil, and how they're all living. And they communicate on an octave that we can't even hear. What I would call a heavenly language.
Well, I did have a conversation with the tree once, but we'll get into that some other time.
Yeah, no, we can. But also, you have a scripture in the Bible where the Messiah heals a blind man. And when he heals the blind man said, "I see men walking as trees." Because what he was seeing was that same energy that existed in the trees and gave the trees life was also in men and women walking around. Yeah. In other words,
from the lungs into the brain.
Right, exactly. Yeah. The God energy that's in all of us, that connects us to the planet and to the sun and to the universe and to each other, the food, water, air, and each other, the source of everything, that energy existed in everyone and he could see it, right? So you have this beautiful principle, right? So what is the tree of life? It's you. And every one of us, or God, or source, or the universe, and every one of us is a branch of that tree of life. And trees bear fruit that feed everyone. And we have a symbiotic relationship between us and the trees, right? All of these beautiful principles are trees. And trees are symbolic of a spiritual existence that you can't deny that there's a spiritual reality because we're all surrounded by trees every single day. And here's what's so amazing about this. Now, coincidentally, it's kind of a secret. Maybe most people probably, maybe some people probably, I don't know. But we changed the logo for Create Change a little while back. Mm-hmm. And we made it a tree.
Right.
Now, if you look at that tree, you'll see in the roots of the tree is a heart and the word love. And from that root of love, it grows up to be this tree that branches out everywhere with a crown on top and bears fruit. Now that is the tree of life that we are all part of and all connected to. And desire fulfilled is the tree of life. So hope deferred. So I asked Kim, I put that scripture with Kim. Because Kim's very spiritual, actually. I said, Kim, their whole goal is just to delay. Just to delay to keep us in a state of having a sick heart. Right? Mm. I said, that's their goal. I've said before in jest, they want to bore us to death. They want to stall. And even today, as I know they're still stalling, makes me furious. Because what is stalling us more than anything? It's us. That we are not bought in fully with everything that we are. Knowing that we are the power to change this.
The Great Awakening.
And that's right. Now, but here's the thing. You know what? They do this all the time. They're masterful. They knew we'd wake up. So what do? They just kept us busy, waking up and doing nothing. But now is the time to take action and to be a part of the movement. To actually find your voice. To make sure you put things, document them. To go after the people that you are afraid of. Because there's nothing more powerful than the collective of the human consciousness. And if we just come together to realize and believe the truth, the hard truth, the truth that they've raped and killed us, they've enslaved us and beat us, they've denied us our natural birthright, our whole lives. Embrace that and then realize I'm taking it back. If we just do that, there's not a force in the universe that can stop us. If we just stop, making a case for the bad guys, and we just stop serving the other side, they're not going to win. They're never going to win. We are. But it takes action. It takes... Gandhi said this. Gandhi said, true happiness is when your thoughts, your words, and your actions are in harmony. Thought, word, and deed. That's a principle and a symbol that is represented in every single religion in the world. It is the connection of the spiritual heart of humanity that is 500 times more powerful than our brain. And our brain is the rudder that directs where that energy goes. So we just find ourselves in a state of love from the heart. Allow ourselves to feel loved and know that we're appreciated. Know that there's unlimited possibilities. Know that you have a source that created you, that loves you. And allow that to direct what you create with your thoughts. And stop believing the lies that you can't, you won't, you're limited, you're not enough, you're enough. You're enough, and you're qualified. You're qualified to change the world, but you have got to want that change to happen. So I was just thinking about that, and that's what set me off, because when I heard this, he said, I'm afraid. People are afraid to get their hopes up. You mean to tell me you think if I get my hopes up and I get pushed down and beat up again, that is going to dissuade me in any way? There's just no way. It doesn't matter how many times I get my hopes crushed. It does not matter. Because the prize at the end of this is freedom, abundance, liberation, the ability to create with reckless abandon, with perfect accuracy, unlimited resources able to draw from and do anything with, man, look, you can't beat me that enough. Because you can't hate me. You'll never. An army cannot hate me more than I love. It's impossible. Because for them to hate me, it takes nonstop effort and reminding and nonstop forcing themselves to do things they don't want to do, taking actions that are against their natural instincts. But for me, to love, it's effortless. Matter of fact, it energizes all of us.
Yeah, there's no reason ever to give up, right? Because giving up, the lack of hope, right, means that you start dying. You recess, and just because you didn't succeed, you try again. remember the little engine that could when we were kids?
Yeah.
I wonder, do they actually teach that anymore in schools, or did they remove that from the schools? Interesting.
I don't know.
The little engine.
I know. I always love that because at the end, it's like I know I can, and I knew I could. Right? Yeah. It's like, I try to put myself.
I'm already at the top of the hill.
I know some people get scared, but you're like a little too fired up or angry, right? And they're like, that's not harmony. You just be happy. And I'm like, no.
No.
If you understand how what anger is, right? If you're a fully integrated being, you have both of these energies in you. And sometimes, being angry about something that's disgusting, well, actually, being angry about something that is hurtful and harmful and disgusting is the appropriate emotion. Especially in that moment to take action, because you could just be complacent, which is what we've been. Stand back and be like, oh, it's fine. Like I'll just put a smile on and pretend like everything's fine. Well, that's how humanity gets, led into, the gas chambers. To be honest.
Yeah, so, well, it's just we're in different forms of the gas chamber, right? It's it's the gilded cage. There's you're only able to do so much, right? And you're prevented. An illusion of being able to work against the system. The good thing is this is all already changing, right? And that there is such a big transition underway. And it is really it's really there for everybody to see, right? Glimpses of it are there if you look, and the more you look, the deeper you'll go into, the bigger red pill you can swallow, right? So if there's something that you don't agree with, like with Tank, for example, right? You look at anything he's done in the past. Great, look at what he's done right now with Lawful America. Read what's there, and then after you see what's there, all referenced material, you want to go and then look at what he's done. Then you might have context for like, well, why was he doing that? What was the GCR? How many people really know what the GCR is really as a percentage of the population? I would say 2%. Maybe. I might be overestimating. 1 out of 100, 1 out of 1,000. I don't know. It could be because there's a couple. I've heard estimates anywhere from 2 million to 10 million people that have been involved in like the currencies. I don't know what the right number is, but still.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I've heard similar things, and I think it's probably a number that's constantly changing. It's like I think people get in, they stay for a while, they leave.
Well, I mean, just be aware of it. Just aware of it. What the term means. That there's going to be a global reset of the money system, meaning that there's going to be a big change, right? And most people don't know. So when you're involved with something like that, and then hey, now you're all on that, and now you flipped, and now you're not. You're all against it, and you're doing this, right? So it's a lot to take in for people, right? Right, and then if you take the very big red pills, and you get into ancient history, where you can go back millions of years, right? that's what's happened back then. How does that reflect on what's going on now? You know, what happened, back in the time when there was a planet called Tiamat?
Yeah.
Maybe there was much bigger creatures around back then because the planet was much bigger.
That's the kind of stuff that I'm always I love history, but I really love the hidden secret history. That fascinates me all the time. So whenever I find out a little piece about something, I'm always like, you talk about that forever. I mean, it's so incredible.
So anyone doubt that there's giants that living even today? I mean, literally, 14 foot or bigger, that actually happened. Well, that maybe they were even rulers in Egypt. Oh, by the way, they basically paint this out in their hieroglyphs. It's not an imaginary thing. It's not like they just did. I said, well, we're just going to make them, 3 times their size, and make them our leaders, and draw them strangely with odd torsos, right? So why was that elongated heads? Any reason why that they would decide to do that? With these otherwise that their hieroglyphics are pretty I say structured, right? Realistic. Show giant light, just showing giant light bulbs and batteries, and
Yeah, and also they still can't explain how the pyramids were made. If you don't have giants, it's impossible.
Yeah, and they have discovered skeletons that would I think reach into like the 38 feet tall range. So that's
Oh yeah, I mean some of those skulls. I mean, you have a man standing in the socket of an eyeball.
Yeah,
the giant's so big. Now those are, but I think those giants like of that size are actually from other planets or something, right? And then you have
I actually think that they're from the time of Tiamat. That's my take on it. I don't have any evidence about that, right? This is just me, thinking, putting pieces of the out there. It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle, right? In 5 dimensions, right? And you take a piece and you say, oh, you got this planet here. It got broken up, and there were bigger creatures on there. Oh, maybe that's when there were the 38-foot tall human beings, and then there was dinosaurs at that time. Because there's evidence that the dinosaurs and humans were around at the same time, right?
So here's what I've been told, right, from people who've seen some of this, right? So you have the giant mounds, right? So you have mounds where you have giants in stasis, right, around the planet. And
which some of them recently woke up, right, in Antarctica.
Yeah, and I think those are the ones that are like they hate the Order of the Black Sun or something. Like they're not friends with the bad guys. Like they hate them. And but they're from another planet, right? Because I guess they would get so big they would outgrow the planet, and they would move them to other planets. I guess they would go to other planets to help kind of establish foundational societies, right? So then you have other giants, that are here. Like I think there's 3 kinds that I heard of that are here, all from other planets. But then you have the actual humans from the planet, right? Averaged much closer to like 8 feet tall, right? That was normal, right? Proportional, right? And healthy and strong, with frames and bones, which were more, just like we are now, but just proportional to 8 feet tall. And those are like, you definitely see evidence of that. Actually, right here in New York and up in Connecticut, because now what I've been told is that the Iroquois Indians, that they are the survivors from like the Great Deluge from Atlantis, right? And so I think I have this right, that like Atlantis was sunk. It wasn't. Well, Atlantis was actually a ship the size of a city or a continent. I don't know. And like it was sunk like during the Great Deluge, right? When this like water moon crashed on the Earth or something. which I don't know if any of that's right. It's just different versions I've heard. But the Iroquois Indians, who actually established the original Iroquois Constitution, which is what our Constitution is based on, that they were probably closer to like 8 feet tall. And there's massive grave sites, like that they discovered up in Connecticut and in New York, of Iroquois burial grounds of beings, and they were like 8 feet tall. You know, they were like the giant, the Iroquois giants. That's why New York is the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. That stuff is amazing.
Yeah, and it's all there. The evidence for it is there. So if someone talks about it, though, you're labeled a conspiracy theorist or you're wacky in some way. It's like, no, you're wacky for keeping your head in the sand.
Well, what's really insane when you think about it, right, is these giant skeletons, which are very well documented, are all being held like back by the Smithsonian, right? So the Smithsonian owns all these skeletons, right?
Right.
And they're not letting them out to the world because why? It would disrupt everything, everyone, just the discovery of giants alone, right?
Now,
so if you have giants that are 8 feet tall, that have like very identical features to us, then you have another set of giants that are 38 feet tall that have that have like 2 sets of teeth and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wait, that's a whole different species.
That's
right?
different.
It's
Yeah,
not just a big guy.
Yeah. That's what they call the Nephilim, right? Those are the ones that were they would eat us, right? So
I've heard things like that. So yeah, and I believe there's some truth to it. I always hesitate to talk about it too much because I hate when I don't really feel confident in something, you know.
Well, I got okay. Let me give you something. This is an off the wall theory from me, right? We talked a little about the Great Deluge, right? You brought that up, so I remembered this. So I had a theory that we had the firmament, right, which was made of water. This was talked about, meaning that in the sky above us was water. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's just like it's just a way of representing what it looks like, and it's just like a mirror of the water, or whatever they want to think of what the firmament was. But let's say it was made of water. Is it possible? Is it actually a physical possibility in physics that could possibly be? So I postulate that if our oxygen level was higher, right, and that the density of our air was higher, that maybe we literally could actually have sustained on a worldwide basis. There was so much pressure and the bubble of air underneath that we actually could hold water up above. But what was happening with the great flood that was coming? Now we've heard theories that Nibiru came too close, right? And that's what caused the upheaval and tilted the earth, and the ice melted in the southern pole, and it got moved into the water, and all those kind of things. But what happens if something actually, or is like say a large amount of meteor showers or something coming all at one time and sort of piercing through the firmament repeatedly all at one time and broke through the pressure and relieved all that pressure and caused all the water to fall.
Wow.
So, but and that's where we also lost oxygen at that time, and that reduced our lifespans. Which also
it's kind of like the infinite. That's like the infinite plane theory, right? We're surrounded. The Earth as we know it is surrounded by a great dome.
Oh yeah.
And it's like we're actually
the flat
underwater,
earthers. Yes, I know.
which I know for a fact is actually a CIA psyop.
Yes, I know. I've got that. I hear my flat earther friends out there that I pick on once in a while. Say you're in a CIA psyop. Stop that. And they don't want to let go.
And
We've got the evidence.
I got that directly from some of the originators of it. So Just FYI. You know?
All right, you know, it's like one of the things they were talking about. One of this one guy, one of the latest, you know, back and forth was, well, they shot a laser across the ocean, right, and it goes in a straight line, and so it way met the other side in distance wise. That you shouldn't be able to see it because of the angle, right, and it would you'd lose that if you were on a curved surface. You know, and then after that, you know, he was explaining the whole thing to me, and I just said one thing at the end of the art of his you know, description of what's going on, and I said, light bends.
Lightweight bend. I was going to say lightweight bend, right?
The light bends according to the gravity. It actually gravity distorts light, so it will bend. It also bends time. So, I wouldn't. That's not a good argument. There's another one about, you know, they built the Panama Canal level. That's another one. I said, really? Over that distance, they kept it absolutely positively level according to the curvature as they were measuring. Because how do you measure things? You use a level, right, which has water in it that centers itself, right, and they're always leveling along the way. So along the way, they kept it level.
Right.
So you know, but you can make a story about anything, right? To make a case for something, and it sounds good. Then you get a bunch of people believing it, and they go off. But they want to convince people the world is flat. I mean, they already had people believing that a long time ago, right? And there was a big fight to prove that it wasn't, you know. So, and it's all
I like the flat Earth theory from a while. You know, I thought it was just a fun theory.
Sure, I dove in. I said, sure, let's see. I said,
Yeah.
listen. I said, this is if we're on a giant spaceship, right, with a big dome, right? Okay.
Right.
All right. Let's say that's the case, and it is as you say. You know, you go any which direction you're going to get down to the wall, the side wall, and that is Antarctica as you go all the way around. But that's not what Byrd came up with, right? When Admiral Byrd, when he took a whole task force, and they flew over it way farther than they were able to go before they had to turn back, right? And they described as though it actually went in.
Yeah, their planes actually crashed into a dome. That's what they said, right?
I think that it was not that they crashed into a dome. No, I think that they were being traced by spaceship. So I don't know. Maybe they hit a spaceship, but maybe they hit a force field, right? But they also it seemed to, by what they think, is that they were going in, right? So they were actually going in to the inner Earth type of thing, like it was like it starts.
Yeah, well, he had like different times and different missions, right? So like he said that he flew right into the Earth,
right,
and actually spoke to giants that were in the Earth. They were friendly. They were, you know, and he called them giants, but they were just bigger versions. From what I heard, they're like, I don't know, I think they're like Flavian or something, you know, or the Agarthians, right, who live in the Middle Earth, you know. But then I know he went on a second expedition, and they got near Antarctica, and his planes kept running into these. It was like maybe one ship, but maybe it was an invisible ship. I don't know.
So I like, you know, going back to Stargate SG-1, right? And when I first started watching, I realized that there's something to this, right? And I was telling an interesting story here. It's pretty deep, and like all of our ancient myths all wrapped up and explained in a fashion, right? Now there's definitely some poetic license in this, but the whole idea of stargates, I already knew that was a possibility, right? That this was a real thing based around quantum physics. I actually had conversations and even worked with a gentleman who also worked as an engineer. Engineers, the thing about engineers, engineers get things built, right? They take physics and they make things work. Physics, let's see, I don't know. I keep on saying physicians. Physics. I say professors, physics professors. You know, they all know the theory, right? But if something doesn't fit their theory, they deny it. Right? They become deniers. Right? And I guess all the engineers are more like the entrepreneurs. they go off and they do. Oh, you say it's impossible. I'll just do it this way. I'll apply this tool, and I don't have that tool. I'll make a tool. Right, and then you end up figuring out how to make it happen, right? You want to do. So
Yeah.
So we start talking about quantum teleportation of data and actually how to actually create that. And we went down into the physics of it. We went down into the manufacturing of the actual, for a better word, lack of a better word, we'll call it antennas. So we were calling them antennas, and we would actually manufacture that from the same way you'd manufacture diamonds, right? From a consistent stream of diamond coming out, like extruded diamond, and then you're basically clipping it off at the electron level, and you're breaking them off into pieces, but they're all connected because they were all one piece at one time. So you physically can take those antennas anywhere, and they'll all be able to communicate with one another. The short version of the explanation. But that was also meant if you can move data, they had already moved people, right? Teleportation, or basically by way of fiber optic, and that system, like go from let's say California to Houston, right? And I know that Pete Peterson, the one that was David Wilcox's main source, he was involved in that project. And this idea of being able to teleport, means that you get into, well, if you can go between any two places by a fiber optic cable, if you had a quantum antenna, as I was just describing, and you moved it to the other side of the universe, it would make no difference how far away it was. You would be able to move that information back and forth simultaneously. It means that the Stargate is a real possibility. So,
Sure.
So all of the stuff that was in part of this Stargate, right, really was a way of disclosure to the world population, right? And that you have within these groups, and I don't, we always say white hats and black hats, right? But then there's always there's this other view of it where there's the owls and the roosters. I don't know if you've heard this description. The owls want to keep everybody asleep, right? And the roosters want to wake people up. So the reason for Stargate SG-1 was that the roosters were using this as a way of waking people up, to put the information out there. So we're experiencing, part of this. So I don't know if you heard, but they accidentally cured cancer a few days ago.
Yeah. Oh, those doctors.
Oops, look what we did. We cured cancer. And they come out.
And immediately they were arrested by the CDC.
And I think they've already been executed. Their heads were cut off while they were looking up at the blades.
They were taken to a funeral camp immediately.
No, they actually were. They were actually still alive, and this looks like it's part of the disclosure. the timing of it with Trump in Davos, and the way he started to reveal something, and he kind of like walked it back. When he did that, it just fit to me like that's one of the things. This is one of the things. Oh, we accidentally discovered cancer. Here it is, right? There's more of those things coming, is what Trump was saying. But he didn't say that, but we related to that. But I related it to that because it comes out at the same time, right? That Trump is revealing these things, and say we're now on a pathway that's for not based in fear. And he literally talked about the fear-based system and a positive-based system. And this is what we're headed towards, and it's about believing in the people, right, and putting things into the hands of the people. That is that is the direction forward. So
it is. I'm set to light the world up with Green Lantern businesses everywhere.
Yes,
we all can agree. It's such a simple principle to me. It's all about how we measure our success.
So, we're shutting down the Yellow Lantern businesses. Is that the idea here?
Oh, that is absolute. You know what? There'll be no need for them. Actually, I thought about it. What if happiness was your measurement for success, right? And all anybody cared about was your level of happiness, and it demonstrated your success. I mean, imagine how different everything would look. Like. It's just an amazing potential, right? Like that you have if we just create different metrics on how we measure, our own self-worth. It's funny. I talk about this sometimes. Is that there really is a currency revaluation, just not the way that people thought, right?
Right.
Because what you currently see, right, like in the mirror, so your current see has to have a new value. Or it has to be revalued in your own understanding. And if you can revalue what you are worth, then everything you do changes. Because when you value yourself, right, and you value your own life experience, and you appreciate the qualities and natural talents, the natural abilities you have, personally, you'll develop them. You'll grow. Your body will respond. You stop looking at yourself as being old and start looking at yourself as being, in a brand new stage of life. Reborn, whatever you want to call it, right? It's amazing how, revaluing what you currently see is so much more powerful than a bunch of money. Revalue. So.
Awesome.
Okay, that's just me.
No, that's awesome.
Man, so, my friend, I appreciate you. I missed you. I did actually miss you, so I'm glad to be back. And let's kick ass. I'm pretty good for now. How about you?
That's good. We caught up, and we'll be back tomorrow. Well, at least I will. I don't know if Tank will. Maybe.
I'll be here, man. I'll be here. All right, brother. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining in. We'll be back tomorrow. Please go ahead and pass out this video. Let's see if we can get the buy these. Let's say the filters that they're putting on us that will pull us back. For some reason the numbers are going up. Before, as I said, it was like up one, down one, up one, down one. Literally not increasing at all. But recently, I think after say mid-December, somewhere, I seem to notice that it was going up in numbers, but it's only like handfuls per day, which is just interesting. I just wonder if they just tweaked their algorithm or are we breaking through more. But when we first were really doing a lot in the very beginning, before we felt the hammer come down on us, we were going I think we had 400 people in a day, 500 people in a day. That was pretty consistent, just jumping in. And that was going on for the first couple months, and then, boom, it dropped. We're like, what happened? We're actually losing numbers, right? Yeah. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow. Go ahead and try subscribing to our website, wwg1wga.love. There's also you can sign up for free, or you can give a small donation of $1.11 a month, $8.88 a month, or $9.99 a year. And there's some donation levels there too for different memberships. But it's all helpful. Anything you want to do there. Also, if you want to join me in Kringle Gold, which is also the gold grain coin, the link is in the description of this video, so you can jump on there, or go to goldgraincoin.com. You can take a look at there, just for the information. You can also go to kringlegold.com, and that actually has the kind of the entire plan. It's kind of like the white paper exposed onto a website and built out that way. Anyway, appreciate everyone here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.